On this edition of the program, we got drama in the Texas Democratic Senate. The Clintons are going to be deposed about sex stuff. The 90s really are back. And a midterm review with Michael Cohen. That Texas special election, is it really the earthquake that people are saying? It's all coming up.
The following is brought to you by Just Another Pilot.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Politics program for February 4th, 2026. Your old pal, Justin Robert Young, joining you here in Austin, Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. And that is very much true for the drama in the Democratic primary. We're going to get to that in a second. A little later in the program, we're going to bring on Mr. Michael Cohen, the man who wrote the book on the modern political campaign. We're going to go over some polling stuff. There's a little bit of, it goes places. Like, you know, up to and including this discussion of college mascots. Anyway. Bill and Hillary Clinton are back in the news. And by the time that you listen to this might already be resolved, but we'll give you all the background on the issue of having them be deposed by Congress in relation to the Epstein files, which is the number one thing that the Democrats have spent their time on over the summer. And now you have to pay the bill. The reason why Democrats didn't push on the Epstein files before. Meanwhile, the government is still in a partial shutdown, and the Republican lead in Congress is wafer thin after there is a swearing in of another Texas representative. So let's talk about Texas representatives, huh? Just to give you guys the basics. Senator John Cornyn, Republican from Texas, his seat is up. Now, he is running in a dramatic primary on one side of the aisle, him versus Wesley Hunt and Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton is leading. He is viewed as a weak candidate. And so, if he were to win on the Republican side, there is a beautiful dream. A beautiful Democratic dream, which in varying different incarnations has looked more or less real, and that is Blexis, Blue Texas. Not since Ann Richards has the Democratic Party been spry here in the Lone Star State. And so we have this primary. And the primary is with a rising star, James Tallarico. He's from my neck of the woods here in Austin. He's a religious man, a Unitarian preacher, somebody that can play the online game. He did the Joe Rogan. He did a Jubilee debate, and he held his own on both. Pretty good marks. He was running against Colin Allred. Colin Allred ran against Ted Cruz, did do better than Kamala Harris, but lost pretty soundly to Ted Cruz. So credit to Colin Allred. I didn't think he did it great. I was not a gigantic fan of his campaign, but then again, it's hard to run as a Democrat in Texas. We're going to hear it when I talk to Michael Cohen, but like you got to kind of pitch a perfect game. And Colin Allred, the lights seemed a little too bright for him, to use a sports metaphor, for a former NFL athlete. So, James Tallarico running against Colin Allred, and then, for reasons that we've covered on this show, possibly because she was gaslit into running, Jasmine Crockett, media magnate, liberal firebrand, decides she's going to get into this race. She doesn't do anything quietly. So she does. Colin Allred says, look, I'm out. My lane was galvanizing the black vote in a Democratic primary. We can't do it if we split, and she's going to win the split anyway. So Colin Allred sees himself to the exit. And James Tallarico, I've said before, you are eventually going to have to get spirited with Jasmine Crockett because she is too live a wire. And if you think that you can meekly maneuver your way around this primary, you're wrong. This is going to get feisty. And what you want to do is keep it on the fair side of feisty. Because here's the larger question. If James Tallarico were to win a Democratic primary for Senate, he needs to not poison himself with Texas's black vote. Okay? So if he beats Colin Allred, if he beats Jasmine Crockett, he still needs to do it in a way that the black vote in Texas is like, yeah, we'll still come out for you. And that's why what happened on Monday is an absolute 5-star disaster for James Tallarico. And it starts a little something like this. This is Colin Allred on all of his social platforms.
I understand that James Tallarico had the temerity and the audacity to say to a black woman that he had signed up to run against a mediocre black man, meaning me, not a formidable, intelligent black woman, meaning Jasmine Crockett. Let me just break this down into a few segments here. First of all, let me just give you some free advice, James. If you want to compliment black women, just do it. Just do it. Don't do it while also tearing down a black man. You are not saving religion for the Democratic Party or the left. We already had Senator Reverend Dr. Raphael Warnock for that. We don't need you. You're not saying anything unique. You're just saying it looking like you do. Okay? So, with that being said, go vote for Jasmine Crockett. This man just should not be our nominee for the United States Senate. I wasn't going to get involved in this race, but listen, don't come for me unless I send for you. Okay, James? And keep my name out of your mouth while you're at it.
Whoa! Colin Allred. I'll tell you what, one of the things that I thought was missing from Colin Allred was that he had a hard time kind of finding the groove, finding the like I'm fighting for you kind of groove. That was one thing that Beto could do effortlessly. Was Beto did this kind of like, we just got to keep fighting, man. Because here's the thing. When you think about this, you got to think about that. Am I right? I'm Beto O'Rourke. That was like the Beto thing. Colin Allred is like, he very much feels like a football player or a lawyer or something like that. But somebody who thinks very rules, very X's and O's, very like get from point A to point B. It's hard to let the humanity come out of a system like that. That was him firing, baby. That was him dealing. You could tell he was pissed off and he wanted to go in there with his whole chest. And he demolishes James Tallarico. Gets racial. Gets real racial. You're not interesting. You're white. That's all you are. You're not doing anything that Raphael Warnock doesn't do. You're just kind of doing it whiter. You're doing the whiter version. Don't come for me unless I send for you. Woo! Now, why did Colin Allred decide to nuke James Tallarico and essentially do everything that he could to attempt to poison James Tallarico with the black vote in Texas? Well, the reason why is because there was a viral clip on social media, TikTok specifically, with a creator who said that James Tallarico told her he expected to run against a mediocre black man, not an intelligent, charismatic black woman. It's a big statement. It's a big statement. And so this creator comes back and she does another video. She says, look, a lot of people have been asking me for receipts. I'll tell you what the receipts are. I was pulled in to a creator program with James Tallarico. So I had James Tallarico's campaign. She is somebody who makes content about politics and stuff like that in Texas. So she was in contact with the James Tallarico campaign. They would send her information. And then one day she says, hey, I really don't like that you're fundraising with James Carville. James Carville has made it his mission to talk about how the Democratic Party needs to move away from woke politics. She doesn't like that. She wants to talk to somebody in the campaign about it. So she talks to her handler. Her handler says, look, it's probably going to sound better if it comes from the candidate. Why don't you talk to James? And these are all things that she demonstrates in the video. She shows the pictures of the screen grabs of the text conversations where they had the conversation. It was at an event in Plano, Texas. And it is there where she has a picture of her and James Tallarico that she says they had a conversation that began with the Carville endorsement and then moved into something that if you have had a conversation with anybody in Texas about candidates, you know that there was a big dialogue about who should run for what. Who should run for Senate, who should run for governor, who should stay in their seats in the House, especially as the map is shrinking with the Texas gerrymander. A lot of people had a lot of opinions. Maybe Tallarico should run for governor. Maybe Tallarico should run for Senate. Maybe he should run for one of the, Lloyd Doggett is retiring. Maybe he should challenge Greg Kasar. Whatever. There's a lot of different things that a lot of different people could do. We wound up settling where we did. And there was a sense that it was a bit of a logjam for Senate because the idea that Ken Paxton is weak. And so it is in this conversation, in that context, that this creator says James Tallarico told her, I was expecting to run against a mediocre black man, not a charismatic, intelligent black woman. She says that stuck with her for a while. This meeting happened back in 2025, and that she decided to say something about it now. James Tallarico came out with the following statement. This is a mischaracterization of a private conversation. In my praise of Congresswoman Crockett, I described Congressman Allred's method of campaigning as mediocre. But his life and service are not. I would never attack him on the basis of race. Oh. As a black man in America, black is capitalized, Congressman Allred has had to work twice as hard to get where he is. I understand how my critique of the congressman's campaign could get interpreted given this country's painful legacy of racism, and I care deeply about the impact that my words have on others. I have always said that despite our disagreements, I deeply respect Congressman Allred. We're all on the same team. No, you're not. That is a lie. I will add editorially. So that statement clarified a few things. There were thoughts that maybe this was entirely just a craven opposition dump by Jasmine Crockett, that James Tallarico didn't say anything like this. Well, it's very clear from the Tallarico campaign that either he said it or he said something very close to it, and he is afraid that this creator has a tape of him saying it. And if he says he didn't say it, then all of a sudden there's going to be a tape, and that would be a problem. So that's why they got ahead of it and said, I meant to say something different. But doesn't call that lady a liar. Validates what she came out and said. Validates Colin Allred's anger. All of this while it looks as if this is a very close race. Polling is all over the map. It is unlikely that either of the two of them are going to get an outright majority unless something changes in this race in the next month. Because, by the way, the primary is in a month. And they're going to have to do a runoff, which will be 2 more months of this exact same campaign. But if we're starting here, I got a theory as to why James Tallarico said what he said. I don't think that James Tallarico said what he said with kind of bass in his voice, so to speak. I don't think that he was trying to denigrate Colin Allred. Well, maybe a little bit. Let's again go back to the context of this conversation. I'm just guessing here. This is just my guess. This creator was supporting James Tallarico over Colin Allred before Jasmine Crockett got in the race. So he assumes that he is talking to a friendly, somebody who has also judged both of the candidates and said, I believe that one of them is going to do better than the other. So if he says that Colin Allred is running a mediocre campaign, he assumes, because by the way, this creator's black, he assumes and cares very deeply about black issues. He assumes that she has already made that decision or else she wouldn't be in the room with him right now. In short, he thought he had a pass. He thought he was, in the parlance of the internet, invited to the cookout. He was not. Jimmy, baby, you were not. You were not. So, if this is directed by the Jasmine Crockett campaign, then we're playing prison rules now. If this happened organically, this is a problem from the Tallarico campaign that they couldn't keep a lid on this. If this just happened but like a lightning strike, then hey, this is the reason why you can't get normal candidates out of the Democratic Party of Texas, because stuff like this happens. Right now, the operating thought is if you just could get a boring piece of toast out of the Democratic primary into the general, that Ken Paxton is so screwed up. He is so fractured the Republican Party that if you just don't give people something to vote against, they will not vote for Ken Paxton enough, and you could steal yourself a Senate seat. It's going to be a lot harder to do now. That's for sure. All right. More discussion about this and so much more with Mr. Michael Cohen. Oh, baby, we're in the midterms now, which means we need to take a glance at the landscape with our friend, the man who wrote the book on the modern political campaign, Michael Cohen. And before we start, welcome to the show, Michael.
Thanks, buddy.
Before we start, I'm going to tell you this. I had somebody that is a friend of mine that you've met. He is in Congress, works on, in the hurly-burly of it all. Had a big, long drive, said he listened to the audiobook of Modern Political Campaigns that I narrated.
Yeah, which you narrated really well, by the way. Yeah.
And said, this is probably the most complete understanding of the way that the professional world of politics works that he has ever heard. Wow. And he would recommend it to anybody. So don't just take, look,
that's right.
Michael wrote it. I narrated it. Obviously, we're shills, so you can take our opinions however you want. But that is somebody who literally lives and dies on these things every single day. And he said that it was the most actual, like, not fluff, no nonsense, the actual way that things go. So please go ahead and pick it up and Michael, pat yourself on the back.
And that's high praise. That's really very kind. It's weird when I feel weird when I get that kind of praise. Like, I'm so used to like negativity because we're in politics. And so like the idea that somebody's actually really being nice to me is weird. I had this experience when I was at the EU Political Tech Conference last week. It was in Berlin, and random people came up to me and were like, I wanted to talk to you because like that book was really good, but you just need to write more about the EU because now I understand American politics a lot more, but now you need to do an update on that. And I said, holy shit, like
Yeah.
that's really happening. Okay. It's remarkable because like you spend, 2, 4, 6 years writing something, or in my case, the first 17 for the first edition. And, you have no idea what it's going to be like and how people are going to take it, particularly professionals. And so that was really the audience, was for people who really want to understand like how it's working. And on top of all of that, walk away with a sense of how hard it is. Right. And I think it's a very respectful look at the business of politics and how things get done in politics. And I think it's nice to hear that from that person, and you'll tell me offline who it is later. So I definitely sent him a note. Yeah. But it's great to be back. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. So the big news out here in Texas, Tarrant County, Fort Worth, part of the DFW, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, as it is referred to. Big seismic shift.
Huge.
A Trump plus 17 district goes to the Democrat by 13. That's the headline. So now let me caveat it. Texas elections are weird. They happen on Saturdays. This was a very, very low turnout version of it. Not to say that dampens the persuasion element of it. Obviously, there is something afoot in Fort Worth County. But as Jonathan Martin of Politico, who has never really been shy about criticizing the modern Republican Party, pointed out, this also isn't Abilene. This is not a ruby red district. Yes, it swung for Trump heavily, but that was because he did well with independents. The independents that showed up on Saturday obviously wanted somebody different. And now in the Texas State House, that's what this was for, by the way, not the National House of Representatives. He is like a Bernie organized labor guy. This is not somebody that you usually see show up here in Austin to legislate the great state of Texas. Big deal, little deal, no deal. What is your read on the Tarrant County election?
So it seems like there were some interesting little things going on underneath. I'll get to big, little, or no deal in a sec, but I would say it's at least medium plus. I think it's somewhere between a medium deal and a big deal. I think when you look at it, there was some kind of weirdness about coming out of the primary. The guy who lost the race was really pissed off and really did his best to sort of like undercut what was going on, in that election. By the way, I don't necessarily agree with you on the whole problem with Saturday. I know that, we have elections usually on Tuesday, but Saturday should give people a lift to go ahead and do it. More people have Saturday off than Tuesday.
Than Tuesdays,
right. So, I don't know that that's
it's
a problem.
Odd.
Yeah.
I mean, and as somebody who has moved to Texas, it is odd that they have them on Saturdays. And I will say that even for elections that have big local importance, like for example, there was a big thing in Austin, a controversial decision about rescinding the camping ban, essentially allowing homeless people to camp out on public property. Right. There was a big push. It was very controversial, got national attention in 21 or 22, I believe. And that was on a Saturday. Dozens of people voted for it. Like there's just something about a Saturday in Texas that just, even when people care, it's hard to get out there and do it. But I've always assumed it's because Texas is a supermajority state, either for Democrats or Republicans, depending on what
where you are.
When you time travel to. And so they're like, oh, whatever, let's just keep it on cruise control because we're a one-party state one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. But theoretically, I mean, the good government people, will always look at it and say, oh, we should really have elections on weekends that would actually, lift, anyway, we're getting to political science at this point. The nuts and bolts of this campaign are just weird, right? And so you end up in a situation where you get a weird result. But it also piles up on top of a bunch of other weird results, right? There was a couple of other, it seems like every week there's a special election where there's a huge swing. There's a 30-point swing last week. And there's a 30-point swing this week. And so you add it all up and you say, okay, the predominance of the evidence is showing that the polling that we're seeing is making a lot of sense here, right? So you look at some of his Trump's approval ratings are really in the shit. We're at 55.2% disapprove, which is
high,
significantly higher than where he usually lives. Even for Trump, it's not great. His approval ratings down. I think when you look at some of the stuff that that I've been looking at, it's where is he losing it? He's losing it from strong approve, which I thought was really interesting. So his strong approval ratings were somewhere like close to 40, and now they're close to, they're like under 30. Yeah. And so like you're now at 24.1%.
So that might be some of the like Marjorie Taylor Greene element, the disaffected super fan.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, the strong disapprove seems to be where it is, and it's trading in the same range. Strong, weak disapprove is sort of in the same. Weak approve is sort of the same. But the really big move is on the strong approve people. So in other words, these are people who are essentially pretty close to the base, if not the base, right? I mean, strong approve, the base is unhappy. So they may be unhappy with a whole bunch of things. And I think when you get into it, you see all the things are going bad, including immigration, which is crazy, because that's the issue that, you would most identify.
But that wouldn't really affect the strong approve. I mean, if anything, the strong approve, and this would be the argument that Jeffrey Epstein is the cause of and solution to all of the Democrats' problems, that that was the play, because that's really the issue that split that strong approve, was the decision to not, quote unquote, release the Epstein files.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely is it. But now, I mean, 3 million of them are out. And so I don't know how many more they're holding back at this point.
Allegedly 3 million, although who knows?
I didn't sit and, I had 2 layovers and I didn't spend my time reading the Epstein files. No. But I would imagine I sat
down with my infant daughter. We all read the pages together as a family, just one email after another.
It's nice. You can get through them pretty quickly because they're all redacted, so it's not really like there's a whole lot of reading, right? It's 3 million pages, but there's probably 5 or 6.
These ones have a lot in there. It was enough that Massey and Khanna, the two Republican and Democrat who pushed this, they were taking a measured victory laps. There was a lot of it was not a hoax, we did it kind of stuff.
Right.
Some of the Democrats were pushing for more. The question, and look, all right, first digression. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
This is my fascinating thing I'm asking anybody in Congress. So the House Oversight Committee holds the Clintons in contempt for not showing up to a subpoena, right? The Democrats on that committee recommend it to the full House for contempt, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So now it's going to go to the full House. And I understand, like I said, if we've seen a measurable push down on Donald Trump's approval ratings and it is splitting from the strong approve, there are 2 things that have done that, in my opinion. It's Israel and the Epstein files. Those are the 2 things that have split the strong approve people from the MAGA coalition. As realistic or as likely as you would find any of those 2 issues. Those are the 2 things. And so now you have when keeping it real goes wrong situation, because do you really vote to hold in contempt of Congress a popular 2-term president, a pillar of your party? Is this a turn the page thing? And I've been shocked that everybody I've talked to on both sides of the aisle are like, I think so. I don't know, man. That's a big, you're signaling to anybody that wants to be a power player in the Democratic Party that it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter who you set up. It doesn't matter if you win 2 times for presidency. You put the party in the position that you have. If the kids don't like you 20 years later, they might recommend you go to jail. What do you think about that? Do you think the Democrats are actually going to vote to hold him in contempt of Congress?
I have to believe that the last thing Hakeem Jeffries wants is an own goal. I mean, this is unbelievable. I don't understand, just the raw politics of this makes no sense to me. I mean, just none of this that doesn't make any sense to me.
They
at
should have
all.
tried to kill it in the committee.
Right. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. I guess what it comes down to is that they really don't want these guys at the convention, I guess in summer, right? I mean, who are you going to have? I mean, who's going to show up if the Clintons aren't going to show up? Okay, the Obamas. All right, you're happy with the Obamas today? Well, it's also signaling to the Obamas that, hey, you too could be held.
Watch your P's and Q's.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Crazy to me.
Yeah, the Clinton thing is weird. But then again, the Clintons are weird, right? I mean, the Clintons, as a whole bunch of other people, spent a lot of time with the Epsteins. Yeah,
yes.
They did.
Well, that's the crazy thing about this Epstein thing is like, look, let's say
everybody,
it's political.
It seemed like everybody did.
Let's say it's good politics for the Democrats right now because it does splinter off an element of the Republican coalition. Questions of exactly how long they're going to splinter off, blah, 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 blah. When everything gets, hot and heavy by the time that it's election day, who knows? But it doesn't erase the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was a Democratic donor forever, that his social circle was largely Democratic donors. Like, Reid Hoffman is all over these emails, and Reid Hoffman is like currently one of the biggest donors that you have on the Democratic side. Like I think he was the number one donor.
There are so many people on this. This goes so deep. I mean, my wife actually subscribes to a Substack, and I won't name the person. He's in the Epstein files, as it turns out. And my wife was like, unsubscribe. Like, yeah. Like, there's just a lot of bad people who are going to get caught up in this. I mean, I was reading it from afar, and Axios was covering, Bill Clinton's dick. And I was like, what are we doing here? I'm like, what are we actually doing here?
90s politics is so back.
I feel like once again, we're talking about Bill Clinton's dick. I mean, this is amazing. This story will never die. I'm like, is it that interesting? It's amazing to me. Like, after all of this, Axios boils it down to an emoji and a bullet point. And I mean,
smart,
the one thing
smart brevity. Although that was the opposite, according to Ghislaine Maxwell in her email to an email associated with Bill Clinton. God,
exactly.
That report, by the way, guys, if
amazing.
you want a great example of a post that was reviewed by 17 lawyers, there was no character that was not reviewed by, if you want an example of common law, something that has been scrubbed down so it cannot, it is the least likely to get sued for, read that post about Ghislaine Maxwell emailing an email address associated with William Jefferson Clinton.
It's just remarkable. I mean, the guy's 80 plus years old right now, and we're still talking about the guy's dick. It's just amazing to me.
Legendary.
So it's a legendary dick. Absolutely legendary. But I mean, to your point, I guess about the the Epstein files. I mean, certainly that is something that has split off members of the coalition that would have been stronger proof. But it's not like the economy's doing great. I mean, every day someone's being laid off. Every day. There are big companies that are announcing layoffs. Everyone's still worried about AI. There seems to be no ultimate strategy here unless you're like into data centers and you're excited that they're all going to get built. I mean, on the trade, it's pretty obvious that people have been getting hit in their own pocketbooks. It's not like all this money's coming into the country. It's like, well, you're spending more money because it's going into the country. And that's the answer. And so to a real extent, I think between the economy, trade, and inflation, you can put together some piece of this, but I do agree with you. I mean, the thing that's in the news right now that's really spiking it is the Epstein files, but at some point it's over, right? At some point the Epstein files are out, and I don't know that there's anything in the Epstein files right now that directly targets Trump, other than, the things we already expected we knew about Trump. And so it's kind of, that's it. Like, I mean, I don't know where it is at this point. So if you're looking at where this goes from here, going back to your original question, I think that we eventually find our way to a new phase post Epstein, and that really ends up being probably Trump clawing back some of those strong approves, through many things like the Trump accounts, through many things like, maybe pulling back in Minneapolis.
They are betting on tax day. Tax day is their thing, and they've laid out that sod that this is when the one big beautiful bill or the Working Families Tax Act, whatever they're calling it now, is going to hit. Is that more people are going to get refunds, and everybody's going to change their opinion about the economy when they have that money in their pocket.
You see, they won't though, because what they'll do is they'll say, "Well, that's my money." That's the problem. Like, I think it's an overreach. I think whenever you pass one of these big, beautiful bills, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, they always invest a whole bunch of, well, this is the thing that's going to get us to the next election. And what they don't understand, Democrats and Republicans, is that people zone out, and they won't connect the dots between, well, I'm getting, okay, let's say $20 more or $100 or $1,000 more.
Yeah.
Because of the government. It will be because, well, I did a better job of my taxes. Talk about patting yourself on the back for the book, but just patting yourself on the back, for using TurboTax better this time around.
Yeah, I think
we'll see.
There was the rumors that they want to do their midterm convention in Vegas, and if they did, I think that would be, aside from it being a literal and figurative gamble. That, the reason why nobody wants to hold a convention in Vegas, from what I've been told, is that nobody wants the late night video of politicians doing Vegas things. Because everyone's got a camera, and there's a lot of ways you can get in trouble in Las Vegas. But the reason why you would do it is because you want a steady stream of servers and people that are tipped. And I don't think there's any city in the world that relies on tips like Las Vegas does, that you can say, I saved $1,000, I saved $3,000, and this is what it bought my kid, and, have them cry on stage or something like that.
I mean, you could do that anywhere, but you're right. I mean, honestly, Vegas is such a talk about own goal. I mean, someone will get videotaped doing something stupid.
Yes,
and it will be somebody that will go, "Oh wow, didn't realize he was a freak."
Oh, really?
Outstanding. Okay, good. He's done. Or
I know.
It will be a he. It won't be a she.
Nancy Mace might show up. You're going to tell me that a feral Nancy Mace out on the strip isn't going to cause some problems?
She's running a very interesting campaign for governor. Let's just say that.
Oh my God! By the way, I think New Yorker just ran a very concerned staffer article.
Oh, there we go. Another one.
About how she has kind of fallen apart. She made them clean her Airbnb and bring her tequila at 2:00 in the morning.
Tequila.
I will say,
Nancy Mace
the wildest Nancy Mace rumor that I have heard was not in that piece. There is a wild Nancy Mace rumor that would light the internet aflame.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Tell me afterwards.
Somebody I know is working on it.
It's so wild you can't share it with our listeners.
Somebody I know is working on it, so I don't want to.
Okay, you don't want to stomp the story.
Anything.
Yeah. Oh man,
but Nancy Mace would be my pick for female division of up at 4:00 in the morning at the Cosmo bar, throwing a drink in the server's face.
Oh yeah, and maybe getting into a brawl or starting the brawl.
Oh yeah.
She's ready to throw hands.
This is your update, brought to you by TakePoliticsSeriously.com. It's where you need to go if you want to get 2 bonus episodes of this show each and every week. We got Clinton news. Bill and Hillary Clinton have agreed to testify before the House Oversight Committee in its Jeffrey Epstein investigation, backing down days before a planned House vote to hold them in criminal contempt. They have long argued that the subpoenas issued by Chairman James Comer were invalid and politically motivated, accusing Republicans of targeting them to shield Donald Trump. After several Democrats joined Republicans in advancing the contempt proceedings, the Clintons agreed to an open-ended deposition on all topics, removing time limits and conditions. The move marks a rare concession by the former president and caps a month-long standoff driven by partisan conflict over Epstein's association. So, a tremendous amount of Epstein information that is out. Epstein is very much in the news yet again, as 3 million documents have been flooded onto the internet. Obviously, protecting the Clintons is a lot of the reason why the Democrats never talked about this before. for whatever marginal utility that you can get in tying Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, there is no evidence that he was in any way as close as Bill Clinton was. This has been one of my biggest fascinations. And by the way, at least as I'm recording this right now, it's not over. Jamie Comer says that while the Clintons have agreed, they haven't agreed to the exact terms. They're giving the Clintons until sometime today, on Tuesday, as I record this, to figure that out. I've been led to believe that drafts of the bill that would end the partial shutdown include the contempt vote. So it wouldn't be a separate vote. It would be a must vote. A lot going on here. All I know, Clinton sex deposition. We're so back. The late 90s are so back. I'm just going to get a 6-pack of Surge. House Republican leaders are moving to advance a Senate-passed $1.2 trillion funding package aimed at ending a partial government shutdown, despite internal GOP resistance. The House Rules Committee approved an 8-4 vote to tee up floor action, giving Speaker Mike Johnson little room for defections. President Donald Trump urged Republicans to pass the bill without changes, while conservative hardliners demanded adding the SAVE Act elections measure. Democrats, meanwhile, are divided, with Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries criticizing the rule, but some senior Democrats backing the funding to keep the government open. So what you're going to hear a lot is about the SAVE Act. That is a way that it is a bill that Republicans want to pass about election integrity. The Democrats wanted to pass their own election integrity bill. They were unable to back during the Biden administration. Now it's the Republicans' turn. Anna Paulina Luna is the one who was leading the charge on this. And the last thing I heard on it is that they wanted to staple it to this and then make the Senate vote on it again. That would be yet another, everybody's going to keep jamming. Each house will keep jamming each other. The Senate and the representatives will keep jamming each other to make them vote again until somebody just votes on the thing that the other one sent them. But it looks as if, at least this was late last night, John Thune agreed, at least by the words of Tim Burchett and Anna Paulina Luna, that they would bring the SAVE Act up for a vote and allow a talking filibuster. There is debate on whether or not that is nuking the filibuster. Some say that a talking filibuster has always been allowed. That is not changing any rule. Others say that's not the way that people do it. And so it is essentially changing the rule. You are relaxing the norms at the very least. I don't want to get too far into the details because we're at a period now where things change very quickly. But keep an eye on that, the SAVE Act. It's going to be something that people are talking a lot about. Finally, when this vote is taken in the House, it is going to be an even slimmer margin than Mike Johnson is used to. Texas Democrat Christian Menifee was sworn into the House after winning a special election to replace the late Sylvester Turner, ending a nearly year without representation in Houston's 18th district. Menifee's arrival narrows the House margin 218 to 214, leaving Republicans with just one vote of a cushion after people that don't normally vote with Republicans are factored in. The tighter math raises the stakes for Speaker Mike Johnson as the chamber grapples with internal GOP divisions and ongoing partial government shutdowns. The shift further complicates efforts to pass a funding bill as soon as possible. The Republicans are not going to get a vote back until March, when the Marjorie Taylor Greene seat is filled. Tight. And that's your update. TakePoliticsSeriously.com, where you need to go if you want to get 2 bonus episodes each and every week. And now, back to Mr. Cohen. All right, let's get back. So the specials matter. Let me pitch you this idea, because there is a element of Republican copium that goes a little something like this. Hey, back in the day, this was just the flipped side of everything. And that Democrats had a working class coalition and Republicans had a suburban coalition. And that means that we always over indexed on specials because the suburban people, they keep Google calendars. They know what they're doing. They're going to make sure that they notch it in and they vote no matter what. It's the working class coalition that is harder to motivate. It takes more money to do it. It takes more persuasion to do it, to have them leave their house. The only thing that's changed is that those suburban voters now vote Democrat and that the working class voters vote Republican. And so when push comes to shove and all of the issues of a campaign are laid out, the higher persuasion will draw out that working class coalition. And so a lot of these crazy numbers are just a distortion. How much of a cope is that?
Oh, it's a hard cope. It's
cope.
It's the hardest of the hard. It's Bill Clinton circa 1994.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hard. Anyway, sorry.
During the government shutdown. During the government shutdown.
Once it's in your mind,
we're just going to do deep Star Report references here on on this episode of the program.
So here's what I'll say. Okay, it's a hard cope for a number of reasons. Number one, Daddy Trump is not on the top of the ticket, so he's not going to draw people out. We already know for the past 10 years how midterm elections work when Trump is not on the ticket. Okay, so we know this as a thing at this point. You don't even have to project it anymore. It's a known, right?
Yeah.
The other thing I would say too is that when you look at the past 4 or 5 cycles, no high school is the bottom rated group that comes out and votes. Like we're talking like 18.3% compared to like Bachelor Plus, your soccer moms are like 64.8%. So like those people are coming out, and some college 51.5%, high school, no college, 39.4%. So like, you're really looking at the stacked deck here. Yeah. So it's going to look a lot more like these special elections and it's going to look a lot more like, a 2024 or even a 2020 or so to a real extent, when you're looking at the numbers, it just doesn't add up. And I get it. I mean, they're going to try and do whatever they can to get these people excited. But once the convention's over, they're not going to stick around. I mean, they may tune into the convention, but it's not going to get them, so jazzed up that they're going to be so excited to go. I mean, there's just too many other things going on right now that are competing in that space. And, to see Nancy Mace, or whoever they're going to have on stage talk about how great Trump is, he's not on the ballot. And so there's no good answer here. I think that it's a lot of copium, but I'll also say this, that we have a lot of time now between now and November for things to move around. And so, I want to be judicious around this, but the fact of the matter is if you're looking for, oh, well, this group doesn't over-index here and they're going to come back, then you're just too far in the weeds. Like what actually needs to happen is a big event to move past this, Epstein phase into something else that is much more friendly terrain for him. So
the argument to bring up a fear on the other side is a friend of the show, Jeff Maurer, who is a, dyed-in-the-wool Democrat and is constantly looking for how they're going to screw this up. Is just obsessed with the idea like this, we are going to blow this. This is a great opportunity.
Somehow. Right.
And there's no chance that we will maximize it. We will blow it. And his theory of the case is that, look, you had a Customs and Border Patrol agent shoot a guy in the street. There's no way that's not going to sway independents toward your side if you are critical of these agencies. However, you can't go full burn, defund. Baby burn, right? Defund the police, defund ICE. Like that you are going to push further than the Overton window. And now you're going to make the argument, do you believe you should defund ICE? And that's where my eyes, Michael Cohen, are on these Democratic primaries. Yeah, because you do see a lot of very eager people to run. You do see people who believe that there's going to be a blue wave, but you also see a base that is bloodthirsty. They want the maximalist of their representatives. And you're seeing a lot of it with Jasmine Crockett versus James Tallarico, where they had a very quiet debate. There weren't a whole lot of fireworks that came out of it. But
which, by the way, is weird, right? I mean, you would imagine that Jasmine would have at least knocked off a couple of rockers, you know? Yeah.
There was also that rumor that she was going to start going negative, and you never really saw it. You got to wonder whether or not
She hasn't raised a bunch of money yet. I mean, Ad Impact has, Cornyn. Oh my God. I mean, the amount of money that he's had primary support is like almost $50 million. Jasmine Crockett, seriously, John Cornyn spent $50 million.
They've been spending it since last spring.
Anti-Cornyn is at 3.6 million. So like they're just flooding the zone with all the monies. Right.
Yeah.
And then you've got Jasmine Crockett against Tallarico. I mean, Crockett spent $500,000 so far. All right.
Yeah.
So all the idea that there was going to be a whole bunch of left money going her way, not yet. Right. Tallarico's got 6.8 million. So like he's really outspending her. So it's very possible that like Jasmine Crockett just gets beat,
just thumped.
And just beat and beat down, and there may just not be a market for somebody who is, that outspoken, on the left there. And Tallarico might just be the right system quarterback at the right time in the right race,
There's enough people, even on the progressive side, that are holding it together for Tallarico. Now, I think that they believe he's more middle of the road than the average Texas voter is going to see him. I think that people think he's just going to keep Republicans, sleepwalking. Look, if Paxton's in there and nobody wants to run ads because they both think that they can win on cruise control, then maybe. But
it won't be a cruise control election, though. You know that. I mean, everyone's going to spend a bunch of money there. They're going to have to unload the Brink trucks. If it's Paxton, there's going to be a ton of money.
Well, the Republicans are going to have to spend there. They already spent $50 million to try to keep Paxton out of it. If Paxton wins it, they're going to have to spend another $50 million to launder him.
Right, which means that Ossoff can go take an early nap. As well as a bunch of others, and there just won't be a lot of money for other people.
That's such a clown car, the Republican Party of Georgia. Just what a,
how are they so unprofessional is really, it's very weird, right? I mean, we're talking an actual Senate race that should be yours. I mean, it makes no sense at all. I mean, I know the governor didn't want to run, and I get it, but still, like, there should have been somebody that
his buddy from Athens, Dooley, has no history and zero charisma.
Yeah.
It's funny. You look at Dooley's ad versus like Michelle Tafoya's ad in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's how you do a sports person with no experience ad. Right. You make it all about the things that you learn, the lessons, the leadership, and you apply them directly into the modern world. How I'm going to affect you because of this lesson. Not just football, blowing a whistle, and then just rote memorization of these top issues. Like you have to be charismatic. If you have no record of what you've done, you've got to be a breath of fresh air. You can't be a boring person and no experience. It's just a zero, especially when it's like, your dad was a good Georgia football coach a jillion years ago. What does that mean? You coach Tennessee.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, they don't like Tennessee in Georgia.
No.
They just don't. And by the way, nobody likes Tennessee in the SEC. Nobody does. We all hate Tennessee. They're jerks. But I'll say this, Tafoya, seeing her launch was really impressive. I think she's a danger in that state, and they better start taking her seriously.
That was pre-shooting. I do think that if she does not do well, if she has to, the more she talks about ICE, the less she is going to be effective, because that's not a strength for her. She wants to be common sense, and she doesn't want to get pushed too far to the left on that.
she'll have to have some kind of a question, some kind of an answer for it.
Yeah,
That is
I think she
essentially
has to
middle of
answer,
the road. Like
yeah.
we can't defund them, but they need to be reformed and just go through that and be done with it. Obviously, there are problems with this case. We need to get all the information and all that. She just needs to like sort of go straight down the middle on that one. But if she starts defending, police officers, ICE officers wearing masks, and other things, I think it's going to be a hard sell for the people who live there. But she's a live body, man. I mean, she is. That's a real race. Yeah, I think Tafoya is a very interesting candidate. And clearly understands who she is.
The big thing that I would say with her, and this is probably underrated when it comes to Trump. A lot of people talk about like why did Trump break through? A million different celebrity candidates. Why was he the celebrity candidate that was able to cement? For me, the most underrated reason is that his media work ethic is second to none. It's still second to none. Yeah. He still takes more questions than anybody, whether or not you like the answers. He's taking the questions. He is calling. I mean, and that's just, half these times that you do like that available. Big New York Times sit down, and it's like he's getting calls just to chop it up with like Brett Baer. Like he's constantly talking to people in the media. Like, Michelle Tafoya has a little bit of that. She understands what the media ecosystem is. She understands the value of a hit. When she launched, she was on 50 different shows, and I think she's keeping her head down a little bit now because these are not favorable headwinds. She doesn't want to run right into a conversation about ICE, but she does have that work ethic, which is you would need. I mean, both a Democrat in Texas and a Republican in Minnesota, you got to kind of run the perfect campaign. There's not a whole lot of room for error just because of the voter registration.
And what does that say to voters? It says to voters two things. Number one, you are prepared to answer any question, right?
Yeah.
And number two, you want the job, right? Yeah. Like actually being in the media and being out there says you want the job. And to me, like that is... people know that intuitively. Like this person's out there pounding the pavement. They're always on the air. They're always answering questions. They're campaigning. And so to me, the fact that they don't disappear is actually a big deal. It shows you that you're a pro and you're ready to go.
Is there any other race that you're watching? You got your eyes on?
There are just too many. I mean, I think, honestly, I think...
Midterms are always a real mosaic. You gotta kind of hone in on two or three, or else you just get lost.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Illinois Senate race is interesting. I think Raja spending $24.1 million of ad support, really crushing the very nice, probably very nice moment she had when she was thinking about running for office again. Robin Kelly, like literally 24 million to 1 million. And Juliana Stratton is, no hoper either at 1.5 million. That's going to be an interesting race. I mean, I think to me, like
Illinois.
I think I want to see what Raja does with this thing. I think it would be really interesting. It's interesting to see him because he's one of these guys who, has sort of like done his duty at the lower level, who's now decided he's going to go upscale. And he's really blowing out the field. And so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they react to him as he goes through. I don't know that it's all that competitive, but I think it's just interesting. I mean, as far as other races, I mean, there's just too many, honestly. I think right now I don't find anything.
The Michigan primary is what I got my eyes. I mean, obviously I have my eyes on both the Texas primaries because I think that they are very interesting.
I think Michigan could be. I think Michigan could be interesting.
I think it's McMorrow. I think Haley Stevenson is just, Stevens is just melting. Like
I never understood her running for it in the first place. I think she just got bored with being in the House. Like I never saw her as a statewide candidate. Not somebody who breaks through on any issue and is sort of like, the nominal Democrat in the House. I don't understand it other than I got to get out of the House. It's a shit show. I'll go to the Senate. Maybe I could do something there. I don't see her, being around the whole time. In fact, it would make some sense if she just basically decided to drop out and keep her seat. We'll see. We'll see.
I
don't
think
know.
McMorrow is somebody that, well, I mean, it's going to be hard for her because she got blessed by Schumer. So you don't want to, declare defeat in any way there. But I think that one's interesting. Look, I liked the Vindman ad in Florida. I thought it was a fine ad. I think it's the most charismatic you can possibly make Vindman look. There's zero chance that when he is on the road that people will like him more than they liked him in that ad. Like he's a carpetbagger who is at his best. His core constituency are MSNBC super fans who don't mind a monotonous voice. Like that's who he is. He's not going to play statewide. So anybody who's talking to me about Vindman over Moody, miss me with all of it. Like, I think it's a fine ad. It was a fine ad. And yeah, Florida has to import candidates because the Democrats can't get their head straight. But like, come on, knock it off.
I mean, I purposefully didn't bring that up because I just think that, Vindman's dead man walking. I mean, I just don't see it. I mean, look, I went to college with Ashley Moody. We ran the same circles together. I will say this, that Ashley Moody is not one of the more impressive people I've ever met. And, there's a lot about her not to like. But she's got the right seat. She's got the right letter next to her. And I think she's going to be hard to beat.
She's going to have a Trump and DeSantis endorsement in Florida.
Yeah, you're done, and and it's not like Susie Wiles hates you, because if Susie Wiles hated you, then you might have a problem. But she doesn't, and so she'll be fine, and she'll do all the right things that she has to do to stay in their good graces. And Vindman will lose, 7 to 10 points, and they'll pat him on the back for setting a whole bunch of money on fire. And I don't know, maybe he'll get himself a House seat at some point, and he can go and hang out in the Senate with the other Vindman from Virginia. It'd be great. We'll have two Vindmans. It'll actually mess up my ass.
Two Vindmans, a Florida Vindman. Does it? Yeah. When you think of
the Vindman from Florida,
like you just think of a guy that loves kicking back, fun in the sun.
Right.
Just a real Florida dude.
He's a beach bum. I know.
He's a beach bum.
He's a real beach bum. Flip flops. Drink in his hand, no worries at all. Exactly. I know.
Closing.
He's not that. And the idea that he's a carpetbagger, basically most of Florida is carpetbaggers, right?
Sure.
They all came somewhere else. But, he didn't come from New York, so that's a problem. He didn't come from Chicago. So, any way you look at it, he came from Virginia area, right? He's DMV, right? So, the idea that he's from my place and going to Florida, well, there's no Virginia contingent, in Florida.
Let me tell you, there are plenty of New York Giants fans. There's plenty of Ohio fans. There's plenty of Jersey, Boston. Not a lot of Commanders
fans,
or Redskins bars back in the day.
Yeah,
not a lot of them that I can remember.
Can we just do one thing here? Now that we've brought up the Commanders, I don't understand, and I'm a researcher, I don't understand how they went through the whole naming thing for a couple of years. They even went to the Washington football team, which, by the way, was hilarious, and we all loved it.
That was awesome. I wanted them to keep that.
They should have kept it. And they do the focus groups, and they come up with the Commanders. Don't they ask the question that in the nation's capital, how are they going to shorten the Commanders to something? And they don't come up with commies. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't realize that that's a problem. It's literally, look, I'm going to go see a Wizards game tomorrow night with my wife. They're playing the Knicks, right? And so, the idea that the Wizards in DC is ridiculous, right? Well, what's worse than the Wizards? The commies.
Yeah.
And so for some reason, the new ownership decided to keep the Commanders, and I think it's an insane answer. You take. You're going to do a whole building and everything else. Just do another name. It doesn't matter. Just Red Tails. I don't care. Tails would be fine. I don't know. Commies? Really commies?
Just go with Skins. They're just the Washington Skins. It's fine.
Shirts and skins, right? We'll have shirts and skins in Ashburn.
Yeah, you have the Hogs. Right? They took their shirts off. All the fans. Yeah. It makes sense. It's it shows a little bit of frivolity. I don't know.
Syracuse did the orange men, so just the orange.
Get out of there. I was.
Yeah,
I can't remember if I was there when it happened or if it happened right after I left.
that was weird.
Bad.
Orange.
Bad.
Orange.
The orange?
The orange.
Like
What
where
the hell
the
is it?
Cardinal, like the Stanford Cardinal? No.
No.
And here's the reason why. Do you know why?
Go.
The orange man
Your show.
was initially the Saltine Warrior. So it was a Native American mascot. It
was a Native American mascot?
Yeah, I mean, that's upstate New York is very, very
Yeah.
Native American, right? So
Oh,
so
wow. it's
the
actually
Saltine Warrior
terrible.
was the mascot. So the orange man, there's like old paraphernalia of like an
Oh.
orange dude. But then they had the ultimate fix. They created Otto. Otto is an orange man. He's just an orange with little legs and he's got cute eyes. It's adorable. They've made a million different Sports Center commercials with him. He's iconography. Keep Otto. But no, they had to change it from the orange men and orange women to orange. It's always been a problem. I've never liked it. And it is
bad.
because it's pompous, the orange.
The orange.
No, you're
right?
orange men. Orange
Yeah.
men, orange women. Well, that and also people got, because then after that, you had all the orange men that were, the IRA people in Ireland were also called orange men. But still,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you get a little dangerous. That's not the worst thing in the world when you have a mascot. You don't want to be super cuddly, especially when you got Otto.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, Florida Gators, that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to see one of those bad boys in person or on your lawn,
Nope.
No, you don't want it.
Great
Don't
chomp.
want it. Gotta be-
There's a lot of awesome
bit of
iconography.
Baby chomp, this big chomp,
Big chomp.
baby chomp. It's great. Yeah. I'm blessed with a really, really good mascot.
And then meanwhile, your arch rivals, one of your arch rivals, the Seminoles, they figured out the perfect way to get away around.
They
it.
did.
That's just make
They
a
actually
deal
did.
with the Seminole tribe.
Right.
That's what
Get them to
if
a
Dan
stamp
Snyder wasn't.
of endorsement. Well done. Yeah.
Yeah, you
That
should
was
have.
brilliant. Yeah, it was brilliant.
You should have just picked a tribe
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, how much do we got to pay you to
to
make Dan
use your
Snyder
name.
so cheap?"
Likeness.
Or just say, the Redskins of the blank tribe or whatever. Figure out something, some old lore. Like there's got to be something around there somewhere that we can write this off, right? Like there's got to be a check to stroke to keep everything moving.
Yeah, no, the Seminoles, I mean, to their credit, and this will be the only time I do that on this fair program. Did cut the right deal with the right people, and the Seminole tribe of Florida is actually
Very powerful.
Very powerful, very business savvy. They bought Hard Rock International. They were
Speaking of Las Vegas, they're building a gigantic guitar hotel on the Strip in Las Vegas. It is going to dominate that Strip.
It did well in Miami. Yeah, it did well in Miami, and honestly, that's the big growth area for that organization. I'm very well aware of them. I've worked with them over the years and stuff like that, and they're terrific. Yeah, but the Seminole tribe, I mean, they're actually very, very business savvy, and they have really good ownership, and they made the right decision with FSU, and so now we're a sports show. Okay.
We are. They love it when I go sports. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. It's universal praise whenever I start talking about football. All right, let's do something even more useless and talk about 2028. Who's winning 2028 on the Democratic side?
Who's winning? I think you are now at the apex of winning because Gavin is now did the thing where he's on Vanity Fair, right? So he didn't. To his credit, he didn't say I was born to do this, someone else I know.
No.
But the article is very gauzy about how great his hair is and how lithe he is, lithe. And whenever you see that word, you know that they were like, man, this is a good looking human being. And so
I think the lead is he
glow up.
knows he's distractingly handsome.
Oh God, please, yeah.
That's the lead.
That's incredible. I know. What did he write it himself? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, Gavin is still ahead, and there's probably every good reason to believe that he'll stay there for a little while. Until he does
Still
something
can't beat
tragically
Kamala in
stupid.
the polls.
Well, I think it'll be real interesting if Kamala decides to run again. I'm not convinced that she is. I think, she runs again, and
What's the last
I think
polling
Gavin,
front runner that you can remember not running?
That's fair. I know. It's hard to say no to this thing, especially when you think that you got robbed because you only had 107 days. Right? Yeah. Actually, you were robbed because you had too many days. Like that's really the problem.
You needed
literally
17 days. If you had 17 days, you would have won.
Yes, because you were winning. At the end of your
17
rollout.
days out, things were going great.
Yeah.
No, the problem was you had to keep making decisions up to and including taking a vice president whose career is over now.
Yeah. One of the sessions that I was in with with that European conference, there was a guy who had done research for Kamala, and they said, look, the problem was that we didn't get any answer about what we should do. From the polling. And I'm like, that just exposes how completely weak the candidate themselves is, because there has to be some kind of instinct there for them to hit back no matter what. Like, so instead of like hitting back on the they them ad, they did nothing. And, once again, the Democrats are so tragically self-owned to compare to what you were talking about earlier. Dukakis, Kerry, and Harris, they don't respond, they lose. And so, to me, what it looks like to me, what will happen is that if she does run, she's going to have a problem with Gavin Newsom, because Gavin Newsom is going to be light on his feet and he's going to take shots at her. And he's going to say, you could have done X, Y, and Z, but you didn't do that. I've been spending my entire time hitting back on these guys. You didn't hit back. That's why we lost. You can't just poll everything. You have to go out and, do the hard work and engage people. So I think that'll be an interesting contrast. And I don't think Kamala Harris comes out ahead on that one. I don't know who else bubbles up who will be interesting. AOC, is obviously making, some waves, and there's a lane for her. There's the Bernie lane that would be blessed by Bernie if she decides to run. But right now, Gavin, is the one who can raise the money, is being smart online, is putting himself out there in the most Trumpian of ways. He seems to have really studied Trump and decided, I must become him,
Yeah, but you want to know what? A hot take. This is great, just useless sports babble. But I think he peaked. I think Gavin peaked. And here's the reason why. He's not really about that life. Donald Trump is about that life. Whatever dumb opinion that he has, he might lie and say he didn't see the thing that he tweeted, but he will never go back on it. He will never hit reverse. He might stay in neutral or go forward. But it's the problem with Gavin is that he has this social media team that is edgelord, 4chan, just like Trump. No, we're going to go in there. We're going to make the joke, the, oh no, he didn't kind of joke, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then Gavin does these podcasts where he wants to be the regular guy. And somebody's like, hey, do you really think that ICE are Gestapo murderers? And he's like, oh God, no. And it's oh, so you're just a fraud. You are just, and then, he gets in this dust up in Davos with Scott Bessent, where Scott Bessent is making gay jokes about Gavin Newsom, which it's that's the ultimate checkmate. The gay,
gay making the gay joke about you.
Yeah, the gay saying I don't know, mayor of San Francisco, you never know. Look at the knee pads on this guy. And it's all right, well, you can't say anything back, right? And I don't know. I feel now who else? I think Kamala, we've seen it. All right. We know I don't think she's going to come out with a whole lot of surprises. No. If
We've
she
seen
runs
the Kamala
again.
Harris apex mode. Yeah.
We have. I don't know who else. I don't know. Shapiro,
Pritzker.
Buttigieg. There's going to be a lane for Buttigieg. And by the way, the McMorrow. Watch the McMorrow. This is another Liz Smith protege. Very same lane. Anything that McMorrow is doing now, understand that is going to be the roadmap for Pete Buttigieg coming out of Michigan, where he's going to have the exact same opinions. And they're going to do this dance of populist enough that the centrist suburbanite likes you, but not too offensive to the progressives. Like that will be, they're going to sell progressive light, and the progressives hate it. They despise it like they despised Pete the last time. They're going to want a true blue fire breather, but that, I don't know. Weirdly,
Pete's
if I were,
problem, but Pete's problem is still
black people hate him.
Demographic, it's still demographic. And it's not the gay thing. It's really not. Like it's very much like how do you win? How do you win the South? Yeah, you can't. And it's not like he's going to be able to go to Iowa and New Hampshire again. I mean, they're just not going to do that again this time. They're probably going to go ahead and go South Carolina first. I mean, it's stupid.
No, South Carolina's out.
South Carolina's out? When is that happen?
They advanced their nominees. It was like 8 of them, and South Carolina was not among them.
Really? Okay. So where are we thinking at this point?
North Carolina. Let me see here. If you
still doesn't win North Carolina, he still doesn't win North Carolina. I mean, again, my point of view is like when you're looking at that coalition, it's very African American heavy, and if you don't have a natural relationship with that group, and not just skin color, but like personality and everything else, and Biden had a very good relationship with the community. Obviously, he needs to do something else about that. He needs to get off Fox News, and he needs to go and find a way to connect with black churches and with other people, and just really find a way to communicate with that group. Because right now, I think they just look at him and they just said, he's not our guy.
Okay, wait a minute. All right, I might have been lying. South Carolina is still in the mix.
I thought they were. Yeah.
Georgia, North Carolina, Iowa's still in the mix. I still I'm going to be a broken record on this, and I'm probably eventually just building my candidacy for mayor of Des Moines. But
Iowa's great.
It just makes sense if you care about. Here's what I say: talent. Do you want to road test talent? Right. You need. That's it. Just think of it like a preseason game where you're just getting people who are not serious or will blow up later and hurt you worse. They get weeded out in Iowa. It's everybody gets so hung up like it's a kingmaker state. And it can be if you're really good. You can start off really well, or you can flame out and still win later if you've got the old bona fides like Joe Biden did. But it kills bad campaigns. That's what you want. You want to kill bad campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that you can't just go ahead and just mass market your candidacy. I mean, that's what Gavin Newsom's going to want to do, right? I mean, you're not going to want to see Gavin Newsom on a grocery line or at a bar or something like that. It's going to look weird,
Yeah,
and
ultra lounge maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, getting all made up.
Yeah.
So what do you wear?
He's the kind of guy you can see yourself drinking an espresso martini with.
He's the kind of guy who'll do makeup with you. Yeah, exactly. He'll put on your makeup for you.
Yeah,
that's great.
He can apply
because he knows how to apply. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know that'll work, particularly for women in the suburbs. They don't want men who wear makeup generally. Yeah. So I don't see it.
All right.
But I'm with you. I think Iowa's great. I think one of the best things about Iowa is that you have to meet real people and you have to spend time with them. And that when you do that, it really does change you as a candidate. It really does connect you to what people care about. And it really does set you up long term for the big mass market rollout, which is, Super Tuesday.
It just shows I can't remember a time when a candidate who showed their ass in Iowa, that problem didn't bite them harder later. Mm-hmm. Like if they survive, Joe Biden, guess what? When a bunch of people asked him questions that were off schedule, what did he reveal himself to be? Cranky and old and mean. And it's like,
real.
Guess what?
That's who he is.
Was part of his problem. It wasn't charming. It wasn't good. He didn't have discipline. And guess what eventually wound up biting him in the ass? Exactly that.
Yeah, he was cranky, old, and mean, and eventually caught up to him.
It eventually did.
You can only hide it so much. Yeah.
All right.
She won't. All right, buddy.
Mr. Michael Cohen, thank you so much. Where can people find you?
They can find me anywhere. They send me a note. But I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, you
Anywhere.
certainly have, a very unique name that nobody else would
Yeah.
possibly be confused with.
That's fair. I guess when you would search me up on anything, you would probably find somebody else who, by the way, we
Yeah.
met, which was hilarious.
One of them. There's another one too.
Oh God, yeah. There are more than a few. Okay, michaelcohen.us is the website. It has links to all the things where you could find me, whether it's on X or any of your favorite platforms or hated platforms on Blue Sky or anywhere else. They're all there. Just come out and by and visit, and would love to talk to you.
There we go. Thank you very much,
buddy.
man. And that'll wrap it up for us today. Politics, written and hosted by me, Justin Robert Young, for Dog and Pony Show Audio in Austin, Texas. Our email is theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Find, follow, and share video clips of the show. TikTok, Justin R. Young. Instagram, Justin R. Young. Twitter, Justin R. Young. And our YouTube is Politics. Get full video. If you support us on Substack, you can also watch us on Substack TV. If you're a free subscriber, if you're a paid subscriber, you get everything immediately loaded on your television without look, I love YouTube. YouTube's got a great TV app. YouTube's job is to keep you watching literally anything on YouTube. Very distracting. Substack, you can focus. Substack TV. I'm a Substack TV influencer now. Take a picture of yourself watching me on Substack.tv. You can support us with a one-time donation. PayPal.me/payjury. Venmo is Justin-Young-20. Cash App is PX3Cash. You can send me anything you'd like in the mail. Post Office Box 153184, Austin, Texas 78715. Again, that is Post Office Box 153184, Austin, Texas 78715. I got a haul, baby. I got a haul. Our friend Riley, who's a great author, he's gonna have a book coming out soon. He sent me some treasures, dude. Vintage bumper stickers. Dole Kemp, McGovern, Shriver, 72. Don't blame me. I voted for McGovern. Dukakis Benson. Nixon Agnew. Strong Nixon Agnew graphic design there. Clinton Gore, 96. Elect Perot for president. Great stuff. President Ford. Love to see it. Send me anything you'd like in the mail. I love that kind of stuff. Post Office Box 153184, Austin, Texas 78715. The only place you can get bonus content is TakePoliticsSeriously.com. That is our Substack. Paying members get 2 bonus episodes each and every week. That's $12 a month, but you can get everything for under $100, $99 at our annual rate. That's going to take you well into past the midterms. We're going to be into announcements for 2028 candidates. If you signed up today, set it and forget it. Never have to think about it again until well into February or past January, into February. Remember, Donald Trump had already announced at that point. We might get announcements that early. But if you want to get your name read at the end of the show, only one place to do it. That is the foundational tier on Substack, including these folks: Sonny, L3PO, Peepaw, Scott, Middle-Aged Mike, Tom, Nick, Sarah, Jeremy, Pro Idiot, Chiller Tomatoes, Neil, Casey, oh yeah, it's Adam, AB Puppy, Dr. Whiskey, Fat Tony's PJs from New York, Will, The Borge B, Michael, Matt, DP4 Bongo, Andrew, Edwin, Sam, Andrew, Phil, Edison, Paul, Gloria, a dog named Checkers, Jerry, Trucker, John, Berkeley, and Zombie Doc. You want your name read on the show? Take politics seriously.com. Back on Friday. We'll see you then. Till next time, this is your old pal Justin Robert Young saying some shows talk about politics, others talk about politics, and still more discuss politics, but this is the only show that dares discuss all 3.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Dog and Pony Show audio.